Well, I think that the biggest signal that we should be looking at is that both Tokyo and Washington in their joint statement said that China was a problem. And this is something that Tokyo has been very hesitant to do up to this period because of their economic relationship with Beijing. And this strongly suggests that Washington and Tokyo are on the same page of the book. They're very concerned about China's external behavior, whether it's the East China Sea around the Senkaku Islands, the South China Sea in terms of artificial islands, as well as the aggressive behavior against Taiwan. I think it was Kurt Campbell who mentioned this statement about defending Australians and not normalizing relations with China until the economic coercion stops is very significant. And I think Tokyo, Seoul, and other victims of economic coercion are all on the same page of the book, and they welcome these strong statements.
Yes, I think that is very heartening for Australia. We've been sort of sitting, trying to juggle these big powers, looking for support externally. What can the US do? What levers do they have to sort of deal with China in a way to stop this coercion, not just of Australia, but of other countries?
Well, I think the United States alone can definitely influence the economic coercion. But what I really think moving forward is that the United States works with Japan and India and the EU and Australia really to say that this is unacceptable. You know, I'm from Canada, and Canada also has had economic coercion against them. And our foreign minister has basically forged an alliance, a coalition of countries to sign a document that says that any countries that engage in hostage diplomacy, and I hope an extension on economic coercion, will be subject to joint sanctions. And I think that is definitely the way to move forward. The United States can also pressure China by prolonging the sanctions associated with the trade war, or extending those sanctions until I think the economic coercion against Australia and other countries stops.
China, up until now, Stephen, has sort of just become more bellicose with their statements. The rhetoric flies against countries that don't fall into line with what they want. What pause is this going to give them, do you think?
Well, I think they'll think twice. I think they realize that there is a growing coalition of countries that are willing to work together to try and constrain China's behavior. It's not an alliance. The Quad is not an alliance. We should be clear about that. But I think there is a growing sense that countries need to work together to, put those constraints on China so that its assertive behavior falls within certain agreed upon kind of limits. And economic coercion against smaller countries like Australia, I think, is a limit that has been passed. But we should be clear that it's not just Australia that's had these problems, many other countries. And, Australia's also been victim to the hostage diplomacy, as well as Canada and others. So I think that the broader bellicose, the broader assertive behavior by Beijing is a track record. And this year in particular, because it's the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party, will make it a difficult year for compromise. And that's why I think it's even more critical that we work with like-minded countries to have a consolidated voice to push back against assertive behavior.
Interesting. Very interesting developments. Stephen, as always, thanks so much.
Thanks, Beth. Talk to you next time.
Indeed.